Social Zoom Factor, episode 262.
Driving results in business these days takes something special. It's a combination of the right info and the right energy. Pam Moore has both and is here to help you avoid the pitfalls and guide your business and life by leveraging and integrating social media, powerful branding, and digital marketing. Welcome to Social Zoom Factor. Now it's time to live life zoomed.
Hey there, Zoomers, and welcome to Social Zoom Factor. This is your host, Pam Moore. All right, today we're talking about another exciting topic, events. Who doesn't love an amazing industry event where you get massive value, make some new friends, and connections that can help maybe grow your business or just have some fun and eat some good food? A good event, in my opinion, is all about the experience, which is driven by the founders and the organizers. The founders and organizers can either make or break an event. And I think having a heart to serve with a number one goal of making the event the highest value possible for the attendees is really the turbo behind the most successful events that I have seen. Today, I have two amazing guests who are going to share with you some of the exact strategies that they have leveraged to build and grow the Midwest Digital Marketing Conference, also known as MDMC, and that's what we're going to call it for the remainder of this podcast. They've grown it into the largest digital marketing conference in the Midwest. Now, I spoke at this event in 2018, which was last year. I'm recording this podcast in 2019, and I will be the MC hosting the event this year in 2019, which is next week is the event, as well as delivering a 2.5-hour personal branding workshop. And I'm facilitating also the personal branding panel. So I am so excited to head out there next week. Now, what started as a tiny seed of an idea by these founders for this event, now this event has recently been rated a top marketing conference to check out in 2019 by Forbes. And if you know me, if you've been listening to this podcast, you know how much I love seeing seeds planted by wonderful people and being part of the experience to get to watch them grow and bloom. Now, in 2018, MDMC had over 2,000 marketers in attendance, and 2019 is looking even more exciting. So this year, they'll have more than 100 speakers, including Google, LinkedIn, GoDaddy, Johnson & Johnson, Adobe, Purina, and loads more. And attendees also get to choose from more than 70 sessions across 9 different tracks, and those are data, digital, social media, creative, commerce, innovation, academic, tech, and entrepreneurship. And then marketers can also take a deep dive into 8 intensive workshops on the first day, one of which I am teaching a 2.5-hour workshop on personal branding. Tickets are affordable, so everybody can attend, and teams can bring their entire team, not just one person, so that they can maximize that value and have everybody get on the same page. MDMC is a nonprofit event, and all proceeds go to MDMC Marketing Scholarship Fund, a UMSL undergraduate marketing scholarship that is made possible by the MDMC. So let me welcome my two guests. Perry Drake is the MDMC founder and assistant professor and executive director of the Marketing and Sales Leadership Institute of the University of Missouri of St. Louis. And second, we have Brianna Smith. She is the director of digital marketing at TerraRecon, executive director of MDMC, and adjunct professor of social media strategies and advanced Facebook advertising at the University of Missouri, St. Louis. It is truly my pleasure to welcome them onto Social Zoom Factor. Hello there, Brianna and Perry. I am so excited to have you with us on the Social Zoom Factor podcast today. The first thing I want to do is have both of you tell us a little bit about yourself so our audience can get to know you. Perry, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So thank you, Pam. So I am currently a professor at the University of Missouri St. Louis. I run the digital and social media marketing program for undergrads, grads, and non-credit programming. So I've been at UMSL, which is what we call it, since 2013. And prior to that, I was a professor at NYU. For 14 years, specializing in the same area of digital, social, and data. And then, which I know we're going to talk a little bit about later, Pam, but I'm also the
Of
founder of
course.
MDMC, which is kind of my claim to fame in the area of building out a large digital conference. But we can touch on much more of that as we talk.
Absolutely. And Brianna.
Yes, thanks, Pam. I am the digital marketing director for TerraRecon, which is a 3D imaging and artificial intelligence for radiology company. And then I am also an adjunct professor at the University of Missouri St. Louis, where I teach social media strategies and advanced Facebook advertising. And then I am the executive director of the Midwest Digital Marketing Conference as well.
Yeah. So tell me, either one of you been sleeping much lately with this big event coming up?
Not enough.
Not really. No.
I'm sending you through the sound waves some extra sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, Pam, we go to lots of conferences, so you know.
Absolutely. You got to rest up. You got a bunch of crazies coming. All right. So for our audience, let's talk about what is MDMC first off. Tell me what that stands for, what it means.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start first and then I'll let Brianna say how she feels. I mean, MDMC stands for the Midwest Digital Marketing Conference. And again, it's been around since 2013. So that was its very first year when I started at the University of Missouri St. Louis. And what's interesting, I think, about it, Pam, is it's produced by a public university. So it is a nonprofit organization. And all of the proceeds from the conference uniquely go back to the students in the form of scholarships or programming support, video equipment, whatever it is that the students need. So that's kind of an interesting foundation to build a professional marketing conference on. So it's not a conference for students. It's really a conference for marketing professionals, which, you'll be there, you'll be speaking at. You were there last year.
Correct.
And so it's a conference kind of vetted in education, I guess, in a way, and the strong philosophy of inclusion and diversity and all the things that means a lot to a university is also wrapped around our event as well. I'll let Brianna jump in. I'll shut up at this point.
So definitely everything that Perry said, but yes, MDMC is the largest digital marketing conference in the Midwest, and we're really proud of the fact that we've built ourselves up to being that large with over 2,000 attendees every year. Especially, like Perry said, we're a nonprofit, so we work heavily with our sponsors and our amazing speakers to make this happen. But we also are the most affordable conference probably in the industry because our tickets are only $169 at max, full price for a general admission ticket. And we do that because we really, like Perry said, want it to be inclusive for everyone. So whether you're a student getting started in the industry or you're a company that wants to send their whole team versus just one team member, which I know that as working in the space that it's always kind of sad when only one team member gets to go, but everybody would benefit. Or you're a nonprofit or starting your career over or whatever. We wanted everybody to have access to amazing speakers and amazing content. Regardless of whether or not, it's financially an option.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I think the word inclusive is something that really does describe the MDMC event, right? And from the minute you walk in that door, you feel like part of something bigger than any of us can be alone. And I would love for us to rewind a little bit and talk about where your event started, because obviously it's very successful. You're doing some very different things, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I always like digging into Perry, when you were first planting seeds, and Brianna, and you were dreaming about what you could do with this and the lives that you could touch. I just want to dig into how that started and how that is such a driving force to where you are today and having that vision and then, the hard work that you've done to execute that and make that come to life is just amazing.
Yeah, no, I would love to tell the story, and then I'll hand it over to Brianna as well, because she's an integral part of the story. But when I first came to UMSL and left NYU, I was building out my digital marketing programs and new courses, and I was reaching out to some of my colleagues back in New York, from Google and Pinterest, et cetera, and asking if they would come in and do a Google Hangout and be guest speakers for my class. Obviously, I didn't have to do that at NYU because they were right there. And a couple of my colleagues had actually offered to fly out to St. Louis and talk to my students. And I thought, well, you know what? If you're going to come out all the way to St. Louis, I'm going to put you in more. I'm going to put you in a room bigger than just 30 students. So I decided I'm going to blow out a half-day summit. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, Pam. Had no idea. And through the power of social media, I didn't have a dime to spend on advertising. I just worked Twitter and LinkedIn like you wouldn't believe. And Brianna knows, and she can tell her side of it. And I pulled in about 425 people for a half-day summit. We had Under Armour, Microsoft, AdBlock Plus, some amazing speakers, and it was just a huge event. And the next year we went to a full day. The next year, again, full day of concurrent sessions. My third year, we maxed out the conferencing facility at the UMSL campus, and we had to find a true conferencing venue, which was Union Station. And that's the year that we doubled and we moved up to 1,400 that fourth year, which was a shock to me. Because again, this was all something I had never done, manage a conference. And here we are going to a huge venue, which is very expensive. Our attendees doubled from like 725 the year prior to 1,400. And I think why that was, Pam, is because I think it was now viewed as a true industry conference because we're no longer on the university campus, really.
Right.
And, what's interesting about Brianna and how that kind of happened. And Brianna and I love telling the story, but she, and I'll hand it over to you in a second. Let me just start at Brianna because I know you like to tell it. But what happened was there was somebody, so that first conference, I was doing it all, Pam. I was the MC, I was selling the popcorn, showing people where to sit. I was taking tickets. It was truly a one-man show. And I heard that there was some person in the audience named Brianna that had got thrown into Twitter jail because she was tweeting so much important facts and unique things that were being said at the conference. She was tweeting so much, Twitter shut her down. They thought she was spam.
I remember those days, Brianna. Yeah. I was probably right there with you in the jail.
And I had heard about that. And then what happened, that particular conference, at the end of the day, my wife was in the audience and she was randomly pulling people out of Twitter, and we were going to award people books because some of these speakers were authors. And of course, because Brianna tweeted so much, my wife selected her out of the Twitter feed, and she came on stage. I said, "Oh my God, you're that Brianna." And then that was when everything happened. The next semester, I think Brianna pinged me, said she's going to come get her MBA. And I'll hand it over to you, Brianna.
And the rest is history.
It really was. It really was.
Yeah. Okay, Brianna, let's hear your side.
So I was put in Twitter jail and was broken free. But I was tweeting like crazy and was really excited to go to the first conference because I actually myself had just moved back, similar to Perry. I was previously living in New Orleans. So I was really looking for a way to meet other marketers here in St. Louis. And this conference was a great thing. And I just couldn't get away. I did my MBA at UMSL and got more involved with the conference, doing a lot of the marketing for it, then became the marketing director. And I've now been the executive director for, I believe, 4 years now. And I can't imagine not doing it. It's been such a amazing experience. And when we're creating it, I really like to think sometimes about creating my dream conference, which kind of backfires because I can't attend it because I'm running it. But I really think about those things that I really enjoy about conferences and taking the feedback of other marketers in the industry of, the inclusiveness and having lots of different types of sessions for, whether a nonprofit or B2B and different levels and also just thinking, when I was attending the first conferences, and I've been to many of the others in the industry, it's just that I always wish, like, oh, I wish my whole team could go. But it's hard to justify, if you had 4 people on
Mhm.
your team spending 4,000 on tickets and then on travel and everything. And, that's not an
Yeah.
option for a lot of small businesses, but they need it as much, they need this education as much as any other business, an
Right.
enterprise level. So I was like, well, we can do this. We can get back to it. And then probably
Mhm.
one of my favorite things that has been about planning this conference and working with Perry and UMSL has been the fact that the students are so involved and I get to see them learning, tools like, they're helping us with the Facebook advertising and learning how to run campaigns and learning social media marketing or helping us with the email blasts and things like that. So really seeing them learn and how it, them doing these things has an impact on a business is really, really exciting and probably one of my favorite things.
Well,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well,
And
and
I
I
remember.
think oh, Pam, I just wanted to say one thing. I mean, I think the thing that's unique too about it is, and I think you sense it, and I'd like to get your perspective, is,
Mhm.
I mean, this isn't really our job per se. It's all
Right.
kind of volunteer based. This really wasn't in my job description when I signed on to be a professor at UMSL. We do it
Mhm.
because we're passionate about it and we see
Mhm.
the benefits of the students and the community and the help we give and all of that sort of stuff. So I think it like spreads to how we work with speakers and
Mhm.
how we embrace you guys. And it's funny, you said it at the beginning. You said kind of our conference when you were
Mhm.
talking, kind of like it's
Mhm.
yours, and that's kind of what we want it to be like. We want it to be
Mhm.
everybody. It's just not ours. It's a
Yeah.
community, and I don't know if you get a unique sense that way yourself.
Absolutely. And after speaking there last year and then seeing some of your speakers that had been there last year and maybe plus other years, I remember talking to them and thinking, wow, I want to be a continual part of this, right? And it's to me that is huge because we get a lot of speaking opportunities and from the first conversation I had with you and Brianna, it's your authenticity came across, right? The fact that you were in this for the right reasons. I know you're making millions of dollars doing this too, right?
Oh,
Haha.
yeah,
No,
I
but
wish.
you're you're in it for the right reasons. And I think that, I love the vision and I love Brianna where how you're talking about teams being able to attend because particularly with small business and even large business, it's so difficult. I always say there's never a client that comes up to us and says, "Hey, here's my credit cards. I have so much money. I don't know what to do with it. Let's spend it on social and digital," right? It just doesn't happen. And you send one person to a conference and then they come back all excited and nobody else knows what they're talking about. It's hard to justify the budget. You come back with 3 or 4 people that are trained, right? You're all on the same page. You're all excited about a vision that you can pull together. And then it helps them be so much more successful in putting together a plan where they can actually earn that budget, right? Set some short-term milestones to achieve some success. So I think that is very different than many conferences where you're thinking about the success of not only it's multifaceted because you're thinking of the success of the students, right? Success of the broader community. And we can talk about that in a little bit too. Success of individuals that are attending, and then success of an ROI of the organizations who are paying for their employees to go. And I don't think a lot of events out there could actually say that they have all of
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
all of those same goals in
we
one
always
package
joke, and
with
a
an
lot of people
event.
say almost we
Right,
have too
right.
many
I
good
agree.
sessions, not to toot our own horn, but if you send one person, you can only attend so many sessions. Well,
Mhm.
send your whole team, you can get all that knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, I want to go back too, because talking about the quick growth that you had, and even with the first event that you had, where you had, the half a day summit, and you had 400 people there, right? And you had sponsors and support like Under Armour and others that you named. And then you grew within 4 years to 1,400 people. So what do you think it was that one attracted those sponsors wanting to be part of it? And then two, what do you think at the foundation fueled that growth? Like, what was it? Because so many event, facilitators and owners are trying to achieve that same type of growth with, whether they're doing events online or offline. What do you think really fueled that success?
Right. Well, again, I'll give you my perspective is I think, when I came back to St. Louis, I think what I really wanted to do was a couple of things. I think I wanted to take advantage, first of all, of some of the reach I had outside of the community and bring some outside thought leaders into the St. Louis community. I love St. Louis. It's phenomenal. We got a lot of smart people, but I wanted to take advantage of that and kind of showcase other people from outside the community. So that was one thing I wanted to do. And I think people gravitated to that. I think that's why my first event was so successful, because every one of my speakers was not from here. Not one of them was. So I did not put a single St. Louisan on stage. So that was, I think, a little unique and got things rolling, I think. And then I think just what keeps it going, Pam, again, is the fact that our price point's so low. We're very inclusive. So what happens is you end up with not a bunch of CMOs or senior marketing managers at the conference. You end up with a pretty heterogeneous group of people at this conference. So the conversation, I think, because of that, can be pretty dynamic, because you've got all different levels at this conference from all different viewpoints and perspectives. And I think it just drives a deeper, richer, more educational conversation. And I do hear that from people. Oh my God, I met so many great people and we had so many great conversations. And I think that helps then spread the word from, the attendees to that next year. That's some of my perspective on that. Brianna, I don't know.
The fact that you have all different levels, everybody's there to learn. And I think that's because we're very authentic of where we came from and what our goal is. And the fact that we're just focused on education and providing great resources for marketers. And we don't hide it. We're proud of it. And I really think that is just showcased in, our values. And you see that in our website, and you hear it from speakers. And we've grown primarily from word of mouth. Honestly, I don't even think we did barely any advertising the first couple of years, because and that was truly because it spread by word of mouth, and the fact that this was quality, and it was what I think people were looking for, is just going back to the core of that education and understanding and sharing all of our, all the knowledge that everybody has in the industry.
I agree. And, I think some of the words that, as you both have been talking today, that just keep popping out at me is maybe they're just not words, they're feelings, is I think your event has both energy, but a calmness to it. And it's that almost that Zen, like it's the balance of there's energy and there's knowledge. And I laughed so hard so many times at your event with people, right? We were having fun, and we were connecting at a human level and learning together. But at the same time, there was a respected calmness about it. And, maybe that stems from trust of knowing that it was just a very well organized event. And, for the way that you treated speakers, it was amazing. How you assigned one of the students to
like a speaker liaison,
I forgot what you called them, to be
something like that.
Partner in crime for the week. How do you refer to those students?
Oh God, what did we call them, Brianna?
Yeah. And he followed,
I don't remember him.
Yeah, he's like my partner in crime. He even went and got my Starbucks. I couldn't believe it. But he
Did you have Sam Nelms? Is that who you had? I think you had Sam.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from the minute I met him, he just had provided such calmness, and I trusted him with my phone. I mean, and he took my phone and he was taking pictures and tweeting for me. And I don't let anybody do that. Right. And so the fact that he did that and I immediately trusted him to do that. And, just having him by my side that the week that I was there was so very helpful. And so I think sometimes event organizers, sometimes it really is, all the big things obviously matter, right? But when events are looking to attract speakers and sponsors and, people that really make their events successful, the little details matter, right? Like having a bottle of water there for your speaker, communication. And I think, I'd love to talk through that with you about some of the little details that makes your event so successful, and whether that was something that you did purposely on all those levels, or whether you kind of just got lucky and you covered all the bases. Like, I think our audience would love to hear the planning that went into that, because as a speaker, I felt that I had everything I needed, right? From the venue to my agenda to, fun events that I could attend, ways I could get back to the community. And, I think that it's all those little details together that make it such a great event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we do. So one thing we do, and I know Brianna is the one that really takes lead on that, is we listen to what everybody tells us from the prior year's conference when we get ready to start planning the next year's conference. So that comes from both speakers as well as participants, and trying to figure out what we can do to make it better. So I think for the most part, everything is pretty planned. And again, we do try to be different. We want to be like a family. We want to treat the speakers well. We want you guys to feel like you're a part of the conference, just not at the conference speaking kind of. And again, we're doing a few new things again this year where I'll let Brianna talk about some of the new stuff with the room moderators that we're doing. And, just even, and Pam, you were involved with it last year. You did a session with some of the at-risk youth. So we let in at-risk youth.
I want to talk about that. Yes.
At-risk youth groups. And again, it's another good way to work with the speakers. You know what I mean? It's a partnership. And it kind of brings you guys into the St. Louis community as well, for lack of a better way to say it. But, I don't know, Brianna, do you want to talk about like the moderators, what we're trying to do to work with speakers better and stuff like that as well?
Well, yeah. And first, I do want to dig into that community aspect. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Let's dig into that. Yeah, because that was one of the key reasons why I decided to go join your event and go speak at your event, was the fact that you were giving back to the community. And, maybe you can just talk a little bit about that, but how I was able to speak into the life of some at-risk youth that were local to your area. So if you want to just, one of you cover off on that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we did, and Pam, you were one of the speakers, we approached, I guess, about 6 or 7 of the key speakers that we thought could resonate well with about 50 of our at-risk youth that we let in totally free. We work with them. We give them exhibitor tables so that they can shout out their cause, and we help spread the word. And, and this kind of came, so I don't think I did it. This is going to be the 3rd year we're doing it. And I had worked with at-risk youth longer than that. And I thought, well, crap, I've got these at-risk youth there. I've got these great individuals, like you, Pam, and you could probably really help motivate these kids and tell them your story. And I thought, I'm just going to ask you guys if you'd be willing to, have a 30, 45-minute private chat with them. And you know what? Every one of you, anytime I ask, are you kidding? I'm there 100%.
Yes.
And it was just that was one of those things I thought, well, this makes perfect sense. I'm just going to give it a try. And it worked. And, we're going into our 3rd year of kind of doing this. And, It's just it's a way for us to work with the community, and the startup pitch competition, again, the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Brianna, I don't know if you want to talk about
we definitely try to work with the St. Louis community a lot in building out the conference. So one thing we do and we've done in the past, but we're really growing it a lot this year, is the startup pitch competition. So we work with the different startup organizations here in St. Louis, which we actually have a very big and exciting startup scene here. I don't think everybody knows that. And we bring in, they apply, and then they, if they get picked, they can come in. They have an exhibitor booth. We do an actual competition in one of our sessions where they are going to do their pitch, and we have judges that are going to score them and decide who the winner is. A little, get them on their toes. And then also we have a public vote where we ask all the attendees to go around and visit and learn about each of these startups, and then go and they'll actually vote, and we have a most popular prize as well. So, which is a $500 prize. And the startups who have participated in the past have really enjoyed it, and they actually ended up, growing a lot and having a lot of business that comes from the conference, which is, our goal as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Actually, 2 years ago, I think one of the startups actually ended up moving to St. Louis. They got some business here, and it worked well. And Brianna, I didn't hear you at the beginning because I cut out and lost my internet connection, but I joined back in. But the other thing, Pam, that's interesting is we are doing nothing with this competition. This is all being done by the Entrepreneurial Club at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Wow. So the Entrepreneur Club is actually running this. They vetted.
Hallelujah.
So they did the call for entrepreneurs. Great. They went through the applications, vetted it down to 5. I mean, they're handling it all, which they're an amazing group of young students. So just another great thing to do kind of for the students to give them that opportunity.
Well, and that's such a testament to what you've pulled together, because I have a hard time even just calling it, using the word event, because it's bigger than that, right? It's a community. And I think it's such a testament to what the heart of it is that you have built, because when you have these ideas, your community is raising their hand without you hardly even having to ask, right? And saying, hey, we want to be part of it. Like the example of giving back to the community. I love, I didn't know the whole backstory on that until today, Perry, the fact that it was just something you were thinking about. And you're thinking, let's see if my speakers would like to participate in this. And then little did you know that wound up being one of the deciding factors that made me want to participate in your event. And, and even when comparing it to other events where I may be getting paid a lot of money, I think we all, at the core, and it's probably the same for your entrepreneurial group and everything we're talking about today, we all want to be part of something bigger than we are ourselves. We all talk about changing the world and, having impact. And, I've always said my purpose, and I know in my business, is to give people a voice and help them have a voice so that they can do what they're on this planet to do. But the struggle is connecting the dots for people. So for your speakers that are coming, the dream is that they're able to change the world and have impact. And that's where I think an event like MDMC, you are providing part of that fabric, right? You're providing part of that fabric that lets people connect with each other that have similar goals, that lets people learn, that lets them give back to communities. And that's where I think kind of the magic happens, right? You're building something that is living, breathing, and none of us on this podcast today know where you'll probably be in 5 years from now, because it's such a living, breathing thing that's being built also by your community. And I think that is game changing. I mean, there's not a lot of other events that can say that.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny, even like Exhibitor Hall, and Brianna, you both know, you guys go to conferences much more than I do. But, so many times you're walking around conference events and it's just such a cold and sterile feeling sometimes.
Yes.
In exhibitor hall, they're all boxed into these boxes with pipe and drape. And, Pam, I do not allow pipe and drape in exhibitor hall. So it is a totally open floor.
I love
and you
it.
can see from one end to the other. And again, part of it is because I don't want people to be isolated and boxed off. I don't. Now, obviously, we have to pay careful attention. We can't put two competitors next to each other. Don't get me wrong. We're not that stupid, but we want to make sure everybody, again, it comes back to that. And I think what you said, which I love, kind of the community and creating the oneness sort of thing. Yeah.
And I think that's probably what drives, we're just kind of thinking out loud here, but I think that's probably what drives that connectedness and that energy as well as the calmness, right? It's that fabric, because people can feel that. I mean, you walk, in the hotel in the Union Station, I remember walking down the stairs and you walk past the booths to get to where the most of the sessions are, right? So just the way the whole venue is set up is inclusive, right? It's not like the sponsors and anybody who's exhibiting is far off. Like they're in the middle of everything. They're there and open. And, we met so many cool people that were exhibiting there and, with relationships that followed afterwards and met people in the sessions. I mean, the event that after, the speakers event was amazing. And the nightly event was amazing, closing event. So it's that there's something special happening there with that togetherness. And, maybe it's just a fabric. I don't think it's one or two things. I think it's
no. And I do think, I think you kind of hit on it a little bit too. And I think, part of it is the venue we chose, which is Union Station, which is just a very unique conferencing and hotel venue. It's a historic, train station in St. Louis, which I don't know if you know, Pam, it was the second largest train station in the United States at one point in time.
I did not know that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, it had massive traffic coming through here. And it's just a beautiful venue. And the way it's set up, it's very conducive to a really good flow and not things kind of being isolated and off to the side.
Mm-hmm. You better book your dates because people listening to this are now going to be booking their venue at Union Station, I think.
Well, we're already having problems. Because they're getting ready to build the new aquarium, which is going to be attached. Which I don't know if it's like the 10th largest in the U.S. is here, and they're building a huge observation wheel. So we're already having issues, Pam.
Awesome. Well, that's a good problem.
No, it is. It is. Absolutely.
So let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the event, the actual event. And it's coming up here next week. 2019 is when we're recording this, but I'm sure even if you're listening to this in 2020 or beyond,
so this
you still
year,
can come join us at the event.
We are going to have, again, over 100 speakers.
What's happening at the event? I know you want to touch up on changes you made this year, Brianna, with the moderators and that type of thing, but I want to talk about that and just talk about kind of what people can expect that are going.
Maybe just shy of 2,000 again. So it's going to be a big event. We have over 80 sessions. And they cover everything from social media marketing to email marketing, video production, and we have sessions for nonprofits, B2B, B2C, all over the place. We have something for everybody. And we also have 9 awesome workshops because Pam is doing an awesome personal branding workshop for us this year. Yes, we're excited. And those are selling out like crazy. But this year we listened a lot to, and we do every year, we listen to what our speakers and our attendees give us feedback on, because we're really trying to make this the best conference we can. So we're adding room moderators, so that will be introducing the speakers, giving updates throughout the day, reminding people, rate their sessions and everything, and providing any updates as they come, just to make everybody's experience better. And again, we have our parties, and it's just a crazy, awesome event.
And the party had awesome food too. I have to tell you, the food was really good at the closing party. And
that's good. That's
every
good. Yeah,
everyone
and what's interesting is like our parties too, which I know some conferences you have to be at a certain level to attend parties.
mm-hmm.
For our parties, everybody can attend that has a ticket. It doesn't matter what level of a ticket it is, which again is something unique and
that
something
inclusive word, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I remember it was raining, and we walked across the street wherever we were going to get to that event, and it was one of those things where a lot of times a closing party, it's like, well, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't go. This event, it was so inclusive. I don't think there was probably hardly anyone there that thought, I don't know if I'm going to go. It was just like, I'm going. Like, why would I not want to go? Because by the time we go to that closing party, everybody's already connecting, right? And so they know for a fact they would be missing out if they didn't go, right? That FOMO was so real. And so I think just that in itself is great because you're not having to push people to get the most out of their investment. It's like the minute they walk in the door and they've purchased that ticket, they are personally inspired to be part of that event. And we all know that's how people receive the ROI and the most benefit from an event is actually participating and, taking advantage of what it has to offer, not hiding out in their hotel room and doing their day jobs. That's probably what I'm looking forward to next week more than anything is truly unplugging from my normal life as much as I can and just connecting with everybody there. And of course I'll be tweeting. Thank goodness there's not Twitter jail anymore. And at least I haven't been thrown in Twitter jail in a few years. And, I'm looking forward to connecting with all the people who are at your event. So
and I can remember, and it just made me feel really good. This was, I think, the year before, and it was at our opening night party. And I know I told Brianna, a young Black man came up to me at the party, and he said, I just want you to know this event just is so. I don't know how he said it exactly, but it's just such a diverse event, and it just feels really natural, and it just feels good. And he thanked me, and that made me feel really special because Brianna and I try really hard, to make sure we're really careful also about speakers we pick because we want to represent a diverse audience and a diverse speaker base as well.
That's great. Yeah, there definitely was some diversity there, and people, I think, did feel comfortable coming up to us at the end and even throughout the conference. Because I remember at the closing party, I had some conversations with a lot of different people and a lot of students and people that were just starting out in their careers, across the board asking some personal life questions like, what should I do? And so I love that we have those opportunities to give back and to speak into other people's lives. So I think for speakers that are looking, speakers that have that same heart.
The best way is to just actually go to our website.
If Brianna and Perry reach out to you to speak, you would be crazy to turn it down.
And you can find everything from all of our full agenda, all of our speakers, any information you need.
All right. So
and you can buy tickets on there.
Anything else you want to share on the event? Where can people find you?
Tickets,
what's the best way for them to learn about the
general
conference?
Passes for $169, and that includes access to all the regular breakout sessions, which is over 80 sessions, all the keynotes, all the parties, exhibitor hall. So you still get access to pretty much absolutely everything. So no problems there if you want to go attend everything. And then the dates are April 16th, 17th, and 18th. The workshops are on the 16th, and then on the 17th and the 18th are all the breakout sessions. And if you also want to come in early, or if you're here in St. Louis, you can join us on April 15th. We're working with EQSTL here in St. Louis to also do a leadership summit that will be free to all MDMC attendees. So, yeah.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm also really excited, Pam, with our keynotes. Again, we try to be really, I guess, timely with respect to keynotes and how we want to do that. And again, we don't have big celebrities as our keynotes. So we try to be on point. So one of the keynotes is, as you well know, Pam, is Daryl West of the Brookings Institute. And he specializes in a lot of research on social media and politics. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be keynoting on the political social media echo chamber, which is obviously a timely topic to be talking about today.
Absolutely.
And then the other one is Dennis Damon, who is on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Data Advisory Council. And he's going to be talking about the future of data regulation and kind of what's bubbling up and what's happening in Europe and Germany and California. So, we try to really be on point. Again, I guess it comes back to the educational component of it. Mm-hmm. It's, obviously, we could bring in a big name, big celebrity, but it's not really necessarily on point with what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, and it's proven your methods work, right? You're not having to just have the celebrity to attract your crowd and your core audience that you want to attract. I mean, you're right. Doing it and building it through the right content for what your objectives are. I truly believe that. I'm excited. I'm so excited to be the MC this year and to be.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. We really are. It's gonna be a blast.
Woohoo! And meet all the all the speakers and hear from these keynotes and everybody else. So I can't wait. So, all right. Well, thank you both, and I thank you so much for your time today. And I can't wait to see some of more people from our audience attend the event this year and over the coming years. I'm sure they're going to be interested in it. All right, that's a wrap.
If you're ready to Zoom your business and Zoom your life, then don't let the end of this episode be the end of your journey. Visit socialzoomfactor.com/Zoom for incredible free resources and guides. And be sure to join the Social Zoom Factor mailing list so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Social Zoom Factor.